Namaskar. My name is Sharan Peshin, and I am a rising junior at Livingston High School, New Jersey. You might have heard about the Armenian Genocide in 1915, the Holocaust during the Second World War, and more recently, the Rohingya Muslims. All these and many other similar examples of human suffering are very unfortunate events that should have never happened in the first place. The decades-long targeted persecution of the Pandit community in the Kashmir Valley by the Muslim majority eventually led to the mass exodus of 400,000 Kashmiri Pandits in 1990. Unfortunately, the KP exodus and the reasons behind it have never been given its due share of awareness and media coverage, as if the 1990 exodus never happened. Today, I will be talking about Article 370, a key constitutional and political blunder that perverted the demographics of the J&K state and eventually triggered the KP exodus. So, what is Article 370? The mythological traditions supported by the research of geologists confirm that the Kashmir Valley was originally a huge lake called Satisar, the land of the goddess Sati, consort of Lord Shiva, and its waters were blocked near Baramulla. Kashmir's greatest historian Kalhan writes about his native land. It is a country where the sun shines mildly, being the place created by Rishi Kashyap for his glory. Big and lofty houses, learning, saffron, icy cool water, and grapes rare in heaven are plentiful here. Kailash is the best place in Trilok, Himalayas the best place in Kailash, and Kashmir the best place in Himalayas. As India got its freedom from the British in 1947, it came in the garb of division in the form of the separation of East and West Pakistan on communal lines. Kashmir had remained independent, but that was all changed by the tribal invasion instigated and sponsored by Pakistan. Facing devastation, Maharaja Hari Singh acceded to the Indian state in order to safeguard the masses, most of whom were Muslims battered by the invaders with no mercy. In 1949, the then Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had directed Kashmiri leader Sheikh Abdullah to consult Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, the law minister at the time, to prepare the draft of a suitable article to be included in the constitution that would give the J&K state a temporary special status and help merge into the mainstream. This Article 370 was eventually drafted by Gopal Swami Iyengar in the Amendment of the Constitution section, Part 21, under Temporary and Transitional Provisions. The article essentially gave the J&K state legislation powers to accept or amend laws passed by Indian Parliament, make state subject laws that almost bordered on citizenship, and have its own flag. Article 370 embodied some key special provisions for J&K. 1. It exempted the state from the complete applicability of the Constitution of India. The state was conferred with the power to have its own constitution. 2. Central legislative powers over the state were limited at the time of framing to the three subjects of defense, foreign affairs, and communications. The biggest damage of Article 370 implementation was to the minuscule Kashmiri Pandit population that had dwindled over centuries of cruel Muslim rulers and marginalization. Under the garb of Big Landed Estates Abolitions Act, passed in the year 1950, Sheikh Abdullah transferred large amounts of land from Kashmiri Pandits to tillers, all local Muslims. The discriminations in job, college admissions, and promotions spilled over to the social fabric as well. Ladakh too faced its part of discrimination and remained an extremely neglected region. With blatant support from across the border, Kashmir developed into a hotbed for Islamic terrorism and leading to the mass exodus of Kashmiri Pandits in 1990. Other than the ethnic cleansing and hundreds of Kashmiri Pandits' lives lost, it is estimated that local Muslims have captured up to $5 billion worth of KP property. The push for Islamization and terrorism agenda, which had been managed very well under the special status of Article 370 provided to J&K state, also witnessed the destruction of hundreds of Hindu temples and other religious institutions. Under the leadership of Home Minister Amit Shah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the notifications of August 5, 2019, neutralizing Article 370 and 35A, were issued after both houses of parliament debated the bills for 3 days.
राष्ट्रपति द्वारा इस घोषणा पर हस्ताक्षर किए जाएंगे और इसे सरकारी गैजेट में प्रकाशित किया जाएगा। उस दिन से अनुच्छेद 370 के सभी खंड लागू नहीं होंगे, सिवाय खंड 1 के नामक तदनुसार पढ़ा जाएगा।
This was probably the most exciting day in Indian parliamentary history after the Declaration of Indian Independence, announcing 3 major policy changes with regards to its policy in J&K. J&K and Ladakh would be center-governed union territories. The state of J&K would no longer have the special status under Article 370 and 35A, and people residing in the state who had arrived before 1950 would be granted citizenship rights. With this historic announcement behind us now, I can foresee significant opportunities in 5 major areas. First, we have industrial development. Removal of restrictions will encourage industry and private investment, thereby spurring economic growth. The push for industrial growth and job creation will provide a trigger for many Kashmiri Pandits to invest and return to Kashmir. Local horticulture, food processing, and handicraft industry will get a big boost. Any landowner who wishes to sell his land would likely benefit from increased prices. Number 2, we have the tourism boom. Investment in tourist infrastructure such as hotels and other facilities will increase tourist arrivals. Kashmiri Pandits will most likely be big investors in the tourism sector, given their local know-how and language advantage. Film shootings, adventure tourism, rural tourism, and religious tourism will grow. Number 3, we have education and health. Large private investment in health and education is expected. A large number of KPs are educators and doctors, and this will create a phenomenal opportunity for Kashmiri Pandits to contribute and shape the future generation. Number 4, we have the rights of women and children. All women now retain full and legal rights on land and all other rights. Property and all other rights of women marrying outside will be fully protected. All central acts and laws protecting the rights of women and children will be made fully applicable to the state. Finally, strengthening the governing institutions. Panchayats will now get direct funding. People will decide their own developmental priorities. This will lead to strengthening of grassroots democracy. Oversight by all central agencies and watchdogs will ensure reduced corruption, and tax collection will likely go up significantly. The abrogation of Article 370 gives such excitement that I can already feel myself on my way to Kashmir, visiting my ancestral home in Habakadal and enjoying the natural beauty of Gulmarg, along with my parents and grandparents. So, let me summarize. Scrapping Article 370 evokes the feeling of one nation through single citizenship. The fundamental rights under Part 3 of Indian Constitution will now be applicable. It has dealt a body blow to the monopoly of oligarchs, vested interests, the middlemen, and those who consider themselves as the arbiters of Kashmiri destiny. On the economic front, we can expect more employment opportunities for the citizens of J&K that can help in uplifting the poverty. Now, more industries and infrastructure could be set up. The removal grants permission to the people living in other parts of India to buy land in J&K. Other benefits include interstate migration and interstate marriages. However, the best thing about the removal of Article 370 is that we now hope to see a conducive environment being created for us Kashmiri Pandits to return to Kashmir and play an active role in shaping the future of our homeland. Namaskar and Jai Hind.